Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If it's the first time you're watching this, I'm going to be reviewing every single movie ever made in alphabetical order, and I'm going off of this Wikipedia page which has all the movies that are in English in alphabetical order. And before I did this series, I've never seen a movie before in my entire life, and that's the God honest truth. I never lie ever. I never saw a movie before I started doing this. So all the movies previously I've done have started with punctuation and were in black and white and were kind of stupid. So I'm very excited to start this new phase of my channel where I review movies that begin with numbers, and we're going to be on number movies for quite a long time. There's like thousands of them, and the very first number movie we have to look at is called One, and it came out in 2013, and this is a documentary film about Formula One racing. I personally have no interest in car racing or basically any organized competition or sport. I've never really watched sports or cared about them, and I don't support any sport teams or anything. It's just part of who I am. I don't get it really, and I'm not interested in them, but that's kind of the appeal of this stupid series. I watch things that I wouldn't care about otherwise. And this film is narrated by Michael Fassbender, who is an actor that I know of. He was very good in the movie Steve Jobs, which I really liked. And yeah, he's narrating this. I didn't even know he was Irish, but he is, and he's using his normal voice, and he sounds kind of sleepy.
4 races later, Dr. Watkins learned firsthand the hardest lesson in Formula One.
Well, not sleepy, he sounds, I don't know, serious. It's a pretty serious subject matter, because the most of this film is about like how unsafe Formula One racing is, or mostly how unsafe it was. It's much better now, but a lot of what they're talking about is people dying in really fast cars, and that's kind of what made me a bit interested about this movie, because I like the morbid and depressing aspect of it, even though I don't really care like who wins. I wanted to know about why were they racing? There's such a good chance of them dying. And so I wanted a kind of very depressing and horrible documentary. But I do feel like this was mostly for people who are fans of Formula One. Big surprise, obviously they're the target audience of this documentary, and it's just a whole lot of it is kind of corny montages, and like, you know, they would introduce a new racer and be like, when this guy arrived on the scene, he was basically fucking nuts. Everyone loved him. He was crazy. And then there's like cheesy music and like montage of him being, you know, a lad. He's like, oh, I'm a crazy racer. I want to drive fast. And the editing in this is the kind of documentary editing that I don't really like. It's kind of edited like an advert or something, where, I don't know, lots of fast shots and like stupid, the fuck am I even saying? I don't know, I can just show a clip and you'll know what I mean. Yeah, you kind of get the idea, right? And there's also like, they show footage of really old crashes that happened like in the 50s and 60s and 70s, but they add in like new sound effects because they couldn't use the original audio because it was like commentating, so it just sounds like crap. So yeah, I was kind of bored watching this. At the start, in the first, this movie's like 2 hours, so the first like 45 minutes I was sort of following along, but because they're trying to cover the whole history of Formula One, there's just so much, and there's not really like any individual characters because they're trying to do like a couple decades worth of history in like 20 minutes. So it just sort of, maybe if you care about Formula One, it makes sense to you, but I was just kind of passively absorbing it, and I was like, oh god, this is going to be a boring one. But then actually it actually got interesting, actually, because actually there's some stories in it that I did like, and well, there's one that I liked, and you maybe normal people have heard of this, but I haven't because I have no knowledge of this sport at all. But it's the rivalry between Nick not Nick. Fuck, I forgot the guy's name. His surname is Hunt. He is a British racer, and then there's Niki Lauda, who might be Austrian. And these two fellas are on the same team, and they like had a bit of a rivalry going or something. And I'm gonna do a horrible job of relaying the story because I don't remember most of the details, but yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself a bit. So it's all about like the safety, because they want the sport to be safer, but the organizers were just like, if you don't want to die so much, then don't drive as fast. It's not our problem. And then, so they're not taking responsibility, and also the racers are fucking crazy because they want to go like as fast as humanly possible. So they're killing themselves. Like one guy is dying every season or whatever. So some of the racers are trying to make a stand and be like, this sport needs to be safer, otherwise we're not participating. And this Lauda guy sort of like sits out some of the races and like protest. And then his rival is this really arrogant, cocky English guy, and he's like, I love racing, yeah.
James was so attractive as a person. He not only attracted girls, but he also attracted a lot of men. I mean, I don't mean like that, but you know, he.
Can't remember where I was going with this, but that bit was kind of cool. I enjoyed these lads. What do I actually remember from this movie? It was the first color movie I've ever seen. All the other ones were in black and white and looked like shit. So I was completely blown away by the high definition graphics and widescreen resolution because I thought the cars were really coming at me. Freaked me out. Just kidding. That was a joke. I don't have much else to say. I just wrote down a bunch of time codes where stuff looked bad, and I can actually show you my book now that I'm recording in 1080p, so you can just read that. Some of the graphics that come up on screen are really terrible, and whenever there's like a talking head interview, because I do loads of these, there's loads of talking head interviews with like old racers, there's this shitty vignette around the screen. It looks fucking shit. But they get all of the main racing guys to do the interviews, like all the ones I've heard of, so that's pretty cool. And if someone doesn't show up in one of the interviews, it's probably because they fucking died. Probably driving Formula 1 cars. That's probably how they died. Except there's one bit where it shows Niki Lauda who gets in a crash, and it's like a fucking terrible one. His car explodes into flames. And you haven't seen interview with him before then, so you're like, oh, he must have died from that, or at least I was, because I had known fucking nothing. But then he shows up in present day. There he is. He did die in 2018, but he didn't die from cars. That's good, because he was my favorite character. He's a bit of a weirdo, but he cared about people not dying in those races, so you like him. Yeah, it's pretty much just for people who like Formula 1, I think, because it ends with this big montage of like, look how crazy this thing is. Yeah, woo, we love it. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with the movie doing that. And this movie definitely has an audience. And it's not incompetent. I thought it was pretty good. Oh yeah, and I found out that they fuck the cars.
But if you can't compete with them and get into that car and go out and literally put your cock on the block, then you shouldn't be in it.
So that's something I didn't know. Pretty educational. Yeah, this movie's not bad. I'm going to give it 2.5 stars out of 4. So it's not as bad as 2.5 out of 5. But it's not amazing, but I just don't care too much about any of this. So, not really a fault of the movie. That's just my review of that. And fuck it, that's good enough. Review is over. Thanks for watching. Next time I'm going to review a movie about like a time loop or something. It's called Plus One, and it's about people meeting themselves from 1 hour in the past or the future. I don't fucking know, I haven't watched it yet. This video has gone on for too long. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I hate you. Bye.
In 1973,